welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real metaphysical and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible results in your life. And this week, we're going to be talking about something I've been getting questions on for like a year steadily. And it's one that I keep running into with practitioners over and over and over. And that's the need of sleep in your practice. Okay. This is one a lot of people don't want to talk about, but we are going to talk about it. All right. And just so everyone knows, if you're seeing this on YouTube or Rumble, we do record these live at the Working Dragon Mystic community. So if you'd like to get early access to these, see them when they are recorded, and take part in the live Q&A that we have afterward, join us at the Working Dragon Mystic online community. You can find a link below. It's absolutely free to join and take part in these discussions weekly. We do have a lot more that is available in the free community. There is a section for if you wish to support us, but a good chunk of the community, there's plenty of classes, workshops that is still free, as these weekly topics are as well. And these topics do largely come inspired by the community. So if there's a topic you're interested in, that's the best way to get it talked about. All right. With that, let's get into this a little bit. Okay. Now, this one actually does surprise me and to some extent on how many people absolutely seem to want to refuse to sleep. Now, there's a lot of people who's probably rolling their eyes if they followed this channel at me right now, because if you followed this channel, you know I am a workaholic. I can get involved in something, and yes, I can forget to sleep. I've done it. I can forget to eat too. Being able to do it doesn't make it good for my practice. In fact, every time I do it, it affects my practice negatively. Okay. And I want to talk about some of those reasons. Okay. Just because you're a workaholic or you have some excuse, you say you're a night owl, whatever it is, sleep is a necessity. Okay. If you go without sleep for 48 to 72 hours, you will easily start suffering hallucinations. Okay. It will affect your mind. And even going 24 hours is bad. Like, there's a reason, like, jobs like truckers and stuff, they have limited time on the roads and how much sleep they're supposed to get. It completely affects you mentally and physically. So it's going to have an ill effect on you. It will affect your mental and physical health. And anything that affects your mental and physical health will immediately translate over into your magical practice. That is the short and sweet of it. And in all honesty, a little common sense would say that's where the video could stop right there. Just, it's going to affect you mentally, it's going to affect you physically, that affects your magic. Don't do it. But anything worth doing is worth overdoing. So let's go ahead and get into this. So we need to talk about the effects of sleep on ether. First off, it reduces your personal energy, your personal ether, your personal vitality. It will literally reduce it. Your body needs that sleep to recoup. It needs that sleep to heal. It needs that sleep to recoup ether. Okay. For those people who's like, well, I'll just pull ether from a tree. It's not going to be the same. It will not do the same. You cannot just pull ether out of random things or out of the air to recoup the ether that's going to help you physically. Okay, your body is still going to diminish and your magical ability will diminish with it. There's really no amount of external draw that can make up that differential, right? I do know of a few traditions who claim it, and I will honestly admit, everyone I've studied long term, the claim was false. That's just really the only way to say it. But the huge one in my mind is probably focus, right? The longer you go without sleep, the more tired you get, the more your focus suffers. The more your focus suffers, everything in your magic suffers. Everything in magic requires focus, right? Even meditation, if we're being all honest with it, right? As easy and relaxing as meditation can be, you still have to have some focus to do it. I can't count the number of people who said, I sat down, I was meditating, I fell asleep. I can't meditate, I keep falling asleep. you're probably not getting enough sleep. You're probably exhausted. And by enough sleep, I don't mean that, you have worn yourself ragged for 7 days and you got 1 8 hour night sleep or one 12-hour day sleep. That's not what I mean. That you actually can't catch up on sleep. Okay. That is something that I had to learn the hard way. You can't catch up on sleep. So running yourself ragged all week and then 1 day good sleep and then wondering why you fall asleep meditating, that's why you're not catching up on sleep. In fact, sleeping too much actually drains you too. It will actually take it out of you also. So that constant back and forth is very damaging to your etherical body. And also, there's a lot of health effects. So it's very damaging to your physical body. Um, the mental effects, constant brain fog and stuff, those aren't any fun either, really. So we do need to consider those, right? And if our personal ether dips and our personal ether drops, so does our ability to manipulate ether in rituals and spells. There is actually a correlation to personal ether ratios and your ability to manipulate and work with even external ethers because you're not picking up external ether like you do a bottle. You actually have to have something to grab onto it with, which requires your energy body, requires your ether, requires your aura, whatever you want to call it. It requires that to get a hold of it to manipulate. And if that is weak, diminished, less solid, so is your ability to manipulate the ether. Okay. So you need to take that into consideration, right? And focus. Okay. We mentioned this already, but it's a driving point, right? You need to be able to focus to do a spell. You need to be able to do a focus to do a ritual. I don't care how simplistic the spell is. You need to be able to focus. Even sigil magic requires focus. And if you can't spare the focus, you're wasting paper and ink or whatever you put your sigils on, and you're wasting your time because you need to be able to maintain your focus to get strong manifestations. The more focus, the clearer the focus, the better the focus, the faster and stronger the manifestations. Okay. Now, to say I'm tired, but I can focus enough, anything's better than nothing. Is it? Is it really? Because if anything's better than nothing, I need my grass cut, my weeds whacked, I need my entire yard redone, and I'll give you a whole penny for it. Better than nothing, right? Um, we know that's not true. We know something's not better than nothing. Because if you spend your whole life honestly just half assing it, your manifestations are going to be so small to next to nothing that you may not ever get anything done in a timely manner that's going to matter. And the few manifestations you do get, they'd be nice. But would they actually be life changing? I doubt it. You might get lucky, but I doubt it. Okay. And then there's the fact that on this channel, we focus on self mastery, self empowerment, right? Self mastery requires some discipline. It does require some focus. It does require certain things that we strive for, right? And that's where I want to talk a little bit on. And that's how do you get decent sleep, right? Now, there's a lot of people out there. If anybody's expecting a big mattress commercial to pop up right now, I ain't doing it. If YouTube sticks it on here, that's their damn fault. It ain't me. Okay. I'm not going to try to sell you a mattress. I'm not going to try to sell you a pill. I'm not going to try and sell you any of that crap because human beings, we literally evolved to sleep on the ground. Okay. We can sleep on the ground. I have got some of the best sleep of my life on the ground. Okay. And to this day, actually, you put me on a soft mattress, I can't sleep. My mattress that I do own, I had a friend sleep on it, and she's like, "Why do you even own a bed? That mattress is way too firm." Great, stay the hell out of my house. Get a hotel. You know what I mean? So that's not really the problem. The biggest problem most of us have is our relationship with sleep and how we interact with it. And it's gotten harder in the modern world. because we are constantly stimulated 24/7. Practically every one of us is always on our phone to some extent. And I don't have too many friends that I can count that honestly, they're not on their phone when they go to bed, right? Now, if you followed this channel for a while, other than knowing I'm a workaholic, you also know I had insomnia for a very long time and it took it out of me. So I have put a lot of thought into good sleep over the years, and just getting my insomnia under control was my first thing. But in the last 6 years or so, my focus has shifted from get my insomnia under control to just good sleep, right? And I've been doing a lot of research. I've been talking with other magicians. I've been talking with doctors and all this other thing, and doing my own research to try and fit this together. And I have concluded, at least metaphysically, a good solid sleep schedule and a good solid sleep pattern and getting regular sleep benefits your magic, hands down. Okay. It really does. I have seen a marked uptick in my practice since I've been getting better sleep, easily trackable. I would say, let's say we calculated it, and the numbers came in somewhere between 18 and 25% improvement. Now, if I was just going for clicks, I'd say 25% improvement, but because it sounds better than 18 to 25, don't it? But let's be honest, depending on what we're measuring, we were getting different variables, but that was the average bracket. Okay. Um, so what I recommend, okay, there's a lot of things you can do. And depending on how bad, like if you've got really bad insomnia, like I had, see a doctor straight up, talk to your doctor. Hopefully you have a doctor that's a little more helpful than mine, because yeah, um, he wasn't very helpful. I ironically, he wasn't helpful. My neurologist ended up being the most helpful one, and they weren't even seeing me for my insomnia. Anywho, hopefully you have a helpful one. So here's some of the things that I have learned over the years from myself, other people with insomnia, from neurologists, and I ended up talking to an individual, not as a patient, but they focus on sleep study. Um, First off, you need a schedule. You need a pattern. Now, a lot of people talk about the circadian rhythm. Yes, that's a thing. Yes, it's helpful. Yes, it's handy. What the hell happens if you work third shift? Well, odds are you're not going to be able to just line up with the circadian rhythm easily peasily. But you still do need a pattern. You do still need a schedule. You need a rhythm. Your body needs that rhythm so it knows when it should be awake and when it should be going to bed, right? For a lot of people, that is getting up in the morning, that is going to bed at night. If you need to flip that for your job, flip it. And that's not that difficult to do. For me, I usually get up 4 or 5 a.m. and I usually go to bed 9 or 10 at night. And I'll be honest, I haven't woke up to an alarm clock in about a year or two because I have that rhythm. My body knows when to wake up. It's just natural. The only reason I would need an alarm clock at this point is if I need to get up sometime that's not on my schedule for whatever reason. And I don't know why I'd be getting up before 4 a.m. for practically anything, unless maybe to catch a plane. That might be the only thing. Um, so you need to try and keep that schedule, whatever it may be. Now, one of the things I would say when you look at your wake up time to consider, right? You have different people who have different needs in the morning. Me and my wife both absolutely despise, loathe entirely waking up, showering, getting dressed, and leaving the house. We hate it. That kind of a morning routine, we despise it. Okay. We don't like anything about it. So we get up earlier than we need to get up. So if we need to be at work around 7, we're probably getting up at 5, right? Because we need at least 2 hours. And for me, that's usually an hour to have some coffee, do some meditations, Some nice, just get me going me time, a little time in there to also, chat with the wife, spend time with her. And then that's an hour to do breakfast, get ready, make sure I got everything, get out of the house. And she's the same way. Okay. So we get up same time, 4 or 5 a.m. every day, 7 days a week, right? All right. Bedtime. You need to set it with enough time to get sleep. Now, some people's going to say 8 hours solid sleep every time. That is an average. Everyone does actually need different sleep. Like there are people who's like, well, I can run fine on 6 hours. Yes, there are. That is absolutely true. There are. But you need to know, you need to understand what you are. You need to actually start. So shooting for 8 hours at the beginning, pretty good way to go. I do shoot for 8 hours. Most of the time I have found I do run really well on 6 to 7 hours most of the time. There's one exception, and we'll get into that. But there is one exception where I do try to adjust that slightly, and I can do it once a week. Okay, we'll get into that. So you need to plan your bedtime to make sure you get what you need restful. Okay, and I do mean plan your bedtime. Okay, when I say plan your bedtime, if I go to bed at 9 o'clock, that does not mean I turn off the video game, turn off the lights, and head to the bedroom and lay down at 9 o'clock. Because there's really no one I know who actually does that. Okay. We turn off the TV, we turn off the lights, we start to get ready for bed. Some of us shower before beds. I think everybody brushes their teeth. Most people do, I know. You change into your pajamas, whatever you wear, birthday suit, I don't know. But you do your routine. You go through the house, you check the locks, you check the windows, and this can take time. Maybe you need to stop at the bathroom. We don't know. But by the time you get to the bed, it can easily be now 9:15. And most people don't hit the bed and fall asleep instantly. My wife can do it. I can't. I know that I'm going to sit in that bed for probably 30 minutes. This is another reason why I give myself 8 hours, even though I don't need 8 hours, because I know I might actually have a little trouble falling asleep. That hasn't happened a lot lately, as long as I stay on my schedule, right? And there's a few other things that's really helped me with that. So I set that schedule and I make sure I have that. But one of the things I've enjoyed is actually having that wind down routine. Like if 9 o'clock's my bedtime, I try to set an hour to start a wind down routine where I'm actually starting to wind down. I'm not on my phone. I'm not on my computer. I'm not playing video games. I'm actually starting to wind down. I might have a cup of hot mint tea. I might take a hot shower or something like that. Um, and actually, there is documented science to a nice hot shower before bed. It spikes your core temperature. So when you come out, your body feels that cooling. And that cooling also helps you fall asleep because dropping in temperature is one of the signs your body to go to sleep. So hot shower before bed is not a bad thing if you have some trouble sleeping. In fact, there's days I forget to shower and I'm having trouble sleeping. First thing I do, it sounds ridiculous. It sounded stupid to me, but I will go take that hot shower. Everybody's like, shower's how I wake up. I know that's always been me, but it works every freaking time. It's better than melatonin and mint tea. It really is. So give it a try. But I have that wind down routine, whatever it may be, even putting some notes in my journal, some thoughts, last minute thoughts about what I need to do tomorrow. I'll write those on a notepad that's on my desk. Um, Anything I'm doing is not digital. It's always going to be something that I can just do real easy. I want to get rid of as much blue light as possible. Some people swear by blue light blocker glasses. I ain't gonna sell them to you. I'll be honest, some of you have seen me in the community. I got some. I've tried different pairs. These right here look redonkulous. They look like goggles. I did not realize they were goggly designed when I bought them. They have not helped me with my sleep at all. They have not. They have been helpful in certain respects, like eye strain when I have to be on a computer all day, assuming I remember to wear them. But they've not helped me personally with my sleep. Some people swear by them. Okay. You can give them a try at your own risk. You do not have to buy the expensive ones. I have talked with my eye doctor about this. Any cheap blue blocker glasses will work. They don't have to be yellow, they don't have to be red. I have a pair in this house that are absolutely clear, and they work every bit as good as these two block blue light. And well, they don't change the color of everything, which is really freaking annoying while you're trying to work. And these look dorky. The other ones, I got two pair for $10. Are I mean, even if I break them, who freaking cares? I can. That's more than McDonald's. You know what I mean? So go to Amazon, find a $10 pair or $5 pair, get those, wear those. Hallelujah, you're done. If you're interested in trying them, otherwise, don't worry about those. Of the things on this list, blue blockers is like try at your own risk. It's as far from everything I found, different people will vary. Most of the things on this list, everyone seems to show some response to it. The blue blockers, like I said, some people like them, some people hate them. For me, I had no effects on my sleep, but it did help with eye strain. So if eye strain's an issue, maybe consider it. At least my 2 cents on that, right? But yeah, set that wind down routine. And the end of that wind down routine literally should be you trying to put your head on that pillow no later than 5 minutes after your bedtime, whatever that may be. So for me, if I'm going to bed at 9, I should not be out of my bed after 9:05. Okay. And if you can do those things, if you can build that habit, you will actually get better sleep. Here's the kicker on the other side of that. You got to train yourself to sleep, which means you got to train yourself to get up. Don't hit the snooze button. That alarm goes off. The very first decision of your day is to get up, to do what's right, to show discipline and commitment. Start the day off correctly. Start the day off with mastery. And alarm up, feet on floor. Okay? I actually ran an experiment for 2 months here recently where I would set my alarm clock and I'd set it for 5 minutes after the time I needed to be up. And I would set my watch. My watch has a little alarm on it. And I would set it for only 2 minutes after I was supposed to be up. That entire 2 month period, I woke up 1 to 2 minutes before my watch beeped. I have heard my watch beep every morning. And my alarm clock, which sounds like a dump truck running through a nitroglycerin plant, has never gone off. My alarm clock could probably wake up my neighbors. It is one of those old 70s or 80 model alarm clocks that just doesn't give a crap who still needs to sleep in the house. So once you build the habit, it gets really easy, but you have to get up. And I'm talking to myself on this. I used to be the snooze-o-matic. Alarm go off, snooze, alarm go off, snooze, alarm. Like it was awful. My wife used to be another one. Like she would set 5 alarms because I don't actually understand that one. Like I understood hitting snooze, but like she knew she would like snooze and turn off alarms. So she set 5 alarms so she could sleep. And it's like, why don't you just sleep longer and get up when it's time? So she had a bigger habit to break, but she did do it, and she gets better sleep. She's more energetic. She's in a better mood, which actually probably helps the people she works with more than me because she was always nice to me, mostly. I just get on her nerves less. So, you need to make sure you're setting that up. Also, and this is something like I didn't want to believe this one. I really didn't. Make sure you are getting outside and getting some sunlight. And that doesn't mean it needs to be summer. I've lived in Washington State in the past. I know it's cloudy, it's dreary most of the time over there. That's fine and dandy. Get outside into the actual sun. It's actually helpful for you. It's good for you. It will give you some vitamin D, and it helps set that circadian rhythm. It helps tell your brain, we're supposed to be up. It's time to do things. Even if you're third shift, try to get up early enough to get out into the afternoon sun. Make that habit. because that's going to trigger that process, that timer in your brain. Okay. Give it a try. They do make sun lamps. I've heard of those. I don't know if they work. I'll be straight up honest. I've not had a chance to test one. Some people say they do. I've not got any personal data on those. I never bought one. Um, I do keep the lights dimmer. Like I have a lamp that dims in my living room for when it gets time to wind down, right? But I'm doing all these things for my health, right? I used to be the guy, I would stay up until I basically was falling asleep, and then I'd wander into the bedroom and I'd pass out. Assuming I passed out with insomnia, there was no passing out. Um, so I built up a lot of bad habits over the years that I had to counter, and they were drastically affecting my health. They were affecting my mental health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, my physical health. Like it was just bad all around. Um, I had one doctor talk to me and ask, how much of the improvements in my health over the years do I account to, you know, dietary, and how much do I account to better sleep? And I told him I honestly can't be 100% sure. I was like, I do know that as powerful as my dietary changes are, it slows, like the progress, the healing, the feeling better. It slows down anytime I screw with my sleep schedule. Anytime I mess around with it, it slows drastically. It doesn't reverse, it's not like I gain weight, but uh or anything like that, but it slows. Now, that sounds harsh. I understand all this sounds very harsh because a lot of people's like, I want to have a life, I want to go see friends, I want to do things. I get you. I'm with you. Again, if you've watched this channel for any extended time, or you've been a part of the community for any extended period of time, I hang out with my friends every Saturday night. We don't usually get together until around 8 o'clock here, and it's usually about midnight, 2 a.m. before we part ways. So it can be anywhere from 1 to 3 a.m. before I get to bed. Now, that right there should show you that I don't 7 days a week maintain my schedule. So, how the hell do I do that? Well, here's the thing. I do. I stay up, I spend time with friends, we have a great time, and we do this every week. Okay. It's not like a once in a blue moon thing. Like we do this every week. This is one of the things I look forward to every single week. So I keep my schedule 6 days a week. Come Saturday, I'm hanging out with my friends. Okay. And we hang out, we have a great time. Afterwards, it does usually take me 30 minutes to an hour to wind down from all the laughter and everything of hanging out with friends before I'm going to be able to turn in. During that time, I'm usually going to have a cup of tea and I'm going to take that hot shower. And if need be, if it's like really hard, I may actually take a very, 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 very low dose of melatonin. But usually I don't need that, usually. And I head to bed. And I get up. You ready for this? I get up at 6 a.m. regardless. Um, if I wake up at 4 or 5, I will go ahead and get up at 4 or 5. But I'm up by 6 a.m. and I'm starting my Sunday. Think about that. I just said I go to bed around anywhere from 1 to 3, and I'm up by 6 a.m. Now, if I get to bed at 1, 6 a.m., 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 5 hours. That's not too bad, considering, 6 or 7 is a solid night for me. But the others, oh, the point here is it makes sure, and I go through all Sunday. I do my damnedest to not take a nap. If I do take a nap, I take a 1 hour nap tops. But I'll be honest, 9 out of 10 Sundays, there'll be no nap. And I will go through my normal routine, and I'll go to bed at 8 or 9 Sunday night, and I'm up like normal, back onto my normal schedule. And that is the routine I have. Now, am I out partying every night? Am I jacking up my schedule every night? No, but that comes into that word discipline, that word self mastery. What's more important to you? Your health, your magical practice, or nightclubs? Because we're not saying you have to cut nightclubs and partying and all these things out entirely. I do it every week. I hang out with friends every week. I keep late nights every week, but I do it one day a week. It's planned into the schedule. The embetterment, the empowerment, and taking care of me, my practice, and my life, that is 6 days a week. Most people I talk to right now, it's completely reversed. They don't have a day of the week where they actually focus and take care of themselves and actually even focus on actual quality rest. And then the rest of the week is just jacked up. So they have no sort of balance in there at all. But honestly, most of them, they just kind of fall asleep when they drop, especially third shifters. Like it gets really hard for third shifters. And I get that because you want to have a social life, but let's be honest, it gets to the point where the only people you can socialize with half the time are third shifters. For third shifters, I used to do it myself. What I'd recommend, do a hangout on a Saturday in the afternoon. If you work Saturday, get up early and work through your shift. That's what I used to do. Or get off, Friday night, get off work and hang out early. That's the only two ways I was able to do it. And make sure your friends know, we want to hang out. Let's get this scheduled. If your friends want to hang out with you, they'll work with you. They'll find a way. You can make it happen, Captain. So these are just a few things to help you get some ideas to start working. These are not medical advice. This is to help get you started. Like I said, if you got insomnia or other things, talk to a doctor. Or you can check YouTube. There's a lot of videos on how to sleep better on YouTube. I do not think you need to buy a fancy mattress. I do not need to think you need to buy a $4,000 duvet or whatever the flip those things that women are putting on their beds are. Somebody actually has an air conditioning blanket. Somebody tried to sell me an air conditioning blanket for $3,000. No, 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 no. I ain't doing that. I don't think you need to buy all that fancy smancy stuff. The only item that I have purchased, and this is actually recently, that I have found actually really helps with my sleep, like it just knocks me out, is we bought one of those little cheap portable home saunas, right? And I will do a sauna session in the evening, and it works. Honestly, I think it works roughly on the same principle that the shower's working on, because you're heating yourself off. You come out into the air feels much, much cooler, but it's at a much higher level because the sauna is, usually 140 or higher. So you're doing 30 minutes in there, come out. Yeah, your core temperature is going to be up, right? I know that's not available to everyone. That's the only thing I bought. And it's a cheap one. It's a cheap one. We didn't even spend $400 on it. Much cheaper than a $3,000 blanket. And it has other benefits, but that's a topic for a different time. That is the only item I purchased that has helped with my sleep, and I didn't purchase it for that. That was a side effect. We bought it for other reasons. Okay. So if you don't have the other reasons, I don't even know if it'd still be worth it. Okay. But all these things, how we take care of ourselves, they affect our life, and that affects our practice. And I can't tell you how to live your life. That's not my business. But I will ask you to ask yourself what is important. Is going out and drinking important? Is going out and partying? Is staying up late playing D&D, or listening to music, or binge watching whatever it is you binge watch? Let's be honest, most of us end up binge watching the same thing over and over. Is that important to you? Staying up and watching something until you pass out on the couch? Or is your magical practice, right? Is your magical practice in manifesting the life you want and gaining mastery and discipline of yourself? Okay. And hands down, there's no judgment. There is no judgment from me. Okay. I don't want this to sound judgy, because it's not. I have no business telling you what's important to you. If Sitting down watching TV until you fall asleep is important to you. And I do know people, I genuinely know people who that is absolutely what brings them happiness and joy into their life. They work their butts off for the ability to come home, grab a beer, and watch movies or TV until they fall asleep. Heck, one of them doesn't even own a bed. He literally sleeps in his recliner because that is his happy place. And more power to him. Be honest with you, I wish I didn't have to have a bed. It'd save me a hell of a lot of room. I don't do well sleeping in recliners most of the time. I just don't. I don't know. I've done it from time to time. I can do it if I have to, but it's not my preferred method of sleeping. I've been told you get used to it, and once you do it, it's like heaven. And maybe that's an experiment for another day. I don't know. But if that's what makes you happy, that's fine. But look at what your actual goals are and ask yourself, are you living a life, applying the things to reach that goal? If you're like me and you are in absolute freaking misery from insomnia, and the only thing on your mind at that point is just, I want some sleep, I got to get rid of my insomnia, check these things out. Check out some things on YouTube, talk to your doctor, see what you can do, make the adjustments to your life. If wherever you're at in your life, you're okay with it, that's fine. But do understand, regardless of who we are, these things will sap us of our energy and our ether. And magically speaking, that will affect our magic. We can't get around that. No amount of thought, I like this or anything, can get around that. Just like I like lasagna, but I can't live on lasagna and lose weight. I just can't do it. I wish I could. That'd be great. Even Garfield couldn't do it. If Garfield can't live on lasagna and lose weight, I can't do it. So, you got to choose which is more important to Drake, lasagna or losing weight and getting healthier. Right now, it's losing the weight and getting healthier. Okay. And physical health also does affect my magic. It also helps in that department, which is another reason. It's not my strongest motivator for my health. That is actually my family. But that's, again, I'm just pointing out, I'm not judging what you choose. You got to choose what's right for you. If these are the things that you wish to consider, there you go. All right. Until next time, everybody, I'm Drake. This has been Working Dragon Mystic. Take care. Bye-bye.